Yo, yo, what's crack-a-lackin', people? By Crom's golden beard. What a few weeks I've had. First, let me apologize for the amount of time I've been away. Half of it was for work purposes, where I was away in London and sunny Barcelona, which kept me busy for 2 weeks, and the other half was because of this Crom damn piece of junk PC that I have that decided to cease functioning, crippling me for another 2 weeks as I try to fix it. In the end, I had to wipe both my hard drives and remove one, which appeared to be the cause of my multiple blue screens of death that I was getting. In the time I've been away, a crazy amount of news has come and gone, a ton of which I would have loved to have talked about, but there's been enough chatting about these other stories and I'm not going to waste any more time trying to catch up. So for this video, I'll just concentrate on some of the more recent stories before I start pumping out my usual content. For those who have stuck around, I truly appreciate your patience. This channel means a lot to me and I want to keep on pushing out as much content as I can. So thanks again. Anyway, let's get cracking, shall we? Of late, 3 new stories have graced the gaming world, which I personally find interesting and would love to hear your thoughts on. First up is Platinum Games, who have been pretty vocal of late, something I'm always happy about. Atsushi Inaba, who is the head producer at Platinum Games, has recently revealed to Famitsu that they are working on a new game for the Nintendo Switch. Yay! Not much information was given about this, as they kind of confirmed before that they were working on a Switch title anyway. But he is quoted in saying that, "We're creating it, I think it's going to be interesting." Platinum Games for me is one of those studios I feel deserve all the attention in the world. They've created some of the best action games ever made, as well as many unique titles that in themselves are fantastic games. If they say that their game is going to be interesting, then I believe them, and I honestly can't wait to see what they come up with, especially considering the Switch's unique features, which we all love. This also leads on to more Platinum chatter, this time about Bayonetta 3. Perhaps you've watched my video on Bayonetta 2's intro, being one of the best intros in gaming history, my opinion of course. Well, Bayonetta 2 is one of the best games I've ever played, along with the first game. This series deserves far more attention than it receives, and is the pinnacle of what action games should be, with a protagonist who for me is one of the best characters in gaming. This series deserves to be a trilogy, and I pray to Crom that we get a Bayonetta 3 in whatever form it takes, on whatever platform, but preferably on Nintendo Switch. Because, like it or not, Nintendo showed how you publish a game, an exclusive game on a system, and I struggle to trust many other publishers these days to do this series some justice, that it deserves. Jumping on to the next story that has taken the gaming world by storm. This is the recent announcement of Monster Hunter Cross for the Nintendo Switch, which will be a HD port of the 3DS title, with some extra shizzle, most likely. Just this mere announcement of a port of one of Japan's biggest series, shot Nintendo's shares into the upper atmosphere, increasing them by like $2.2 billion or something crazy like this. The highest they've been since 2008, I believe. I'm sorry, but if a port can do this, what would the next official numbered title in the Monster Hunter series do? Right now the Switch is on fire. Demand is high, and even now it is outpacing the sales of the Wii by around 10%. During the same time frame, as well as saving, or really helping Best Buy in the US, whose sales, thanks to the Switch, have helped boost them with big sales and earnings through their first quarter. So, so much for all the doubts about releasing a new console in March. I think Nintendo have proved that it can easily be done with, the right appealing console software and marketing. Like I said, I guess this is what happens. You release a compelling console, with a great market push and the software to back it up. And what have you got? Awesome sauce. And finally, I would like to talk about, other recent news stories, especially on like Fire Emblem for the Switch, as well as Fire Emblem Warriors, both of which I'm really looking forward to. Plus the same team talking about how they would like to do a new Advanced Wars, how they'd like to make a new one, but not quite sure what direction to go in or if they got the chance to actually do one. Personally, I think this would be perfect on the Switch. But another story that has come to mind is that Sony has finally ceased production of the PlayStation 3 in Japan. For some reason, I find that this feels a little too soon. Even though in a way it's not. I mean the PS3 still outsells the Xbox One in Japan. My history with the PS3 is a dark one, I suppose. At the time I couldn't afford one, but there were certainly some games that I wanted to play on it. Luckily enough, for example, when Metal Gear Solid 4 released, I was working in a game shop called Game Station, and my boss let me borrow a second-hand PlayStation 3 in order to play Metal Gear Solid 4. As after Metal Gear Solid 3, which is a sensational game and the best Metal Gear, in my opinion, closely followed by Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes on the GameCube. There was no chance of me missing Metal Gear Solid 4. I had to play it. So Metal Gear Solid 4, it was a good game. But after playing it, I still had no real urges to buy a PlayStation 3 myself. But then we found out about The Last Guardian. Now I'm a huge fan of Ico and Shadow of the Colossus and that team. So The Last Guardian was essential. This spurred me into selling some of my games collection, something I've regretted, ever since, in order to get a PlayStation 3. Anyway, waffling on a little here, and perhaps one day I'll do a full video on my thoughts on the PlayStation 3. But to sum it up quickly, it's my second least favorite console of all time. A system that had a few games to sing and dance about, but overall for someone like me who also had a Nintendo Wii and an Xbox 360 as well as a PC, at that time, for the most part the PlayStation 3 was a letdown. But the PlayStation 3 had one superb, truly superb title, and that was Journey, which I had a video on this channel as well, so feel free to check that out. But still, the PS3 sold very well. Had tons of software, and has led onto the PlayStation 4. Another console I feel I foolishly sold some of my collection to fund, and is quickly trailing behind the PS3 in terms of disappointment. But still, the PlayStation 4 is still essentially young in a way, and it has finally started to get some really good exclusives. That I am very much interested in, and of course it has The Last Guardian, a single game that has, in a sense, got me to buy 2 Sony consoles. Was it worth it? Well, I'm still playing the game now, and I shall have a review to follow at some point. Anyway, I won't keep you any longer. Like I said, I'm back in the game now that my PC is working, touch wood, and I will be quickly following up with some more content which I hope you will enjoy. Once again, thanks all for lingering around, and as always, I look forward to your comments below. Peace.